Hello, America, and to our friends around the world, greetings and welcome back to March is Women's Month. We're nearing the end of the month. Some of these reports, whenever I'm able to, I'm doubling up these encounters with law enforcement agencies and the courts. And in an effort to make certain that these names actually get out into the public, out into the zeitgeist, as it were, to become synonymous with abuse, with with filicide and infanticide, and just gosh darn it, homicide. No, in all seriousness, I'm not attempting to make light of this, but the some of these reports are absolutely, absolutely horrible. And these aren't any less, but they aren't permanent ending reports as the previous video with the three different children, or excuse me, four different children who suffered under their mothers. Um, Man says he saw fist imprint on baby during FaceTime call. Now mom is charged with. There it is in black and white. When law enforcement arrived at the home, Aleesha Ann Allen was in the process of putting the baby into a vehicle, authorities say. A lot of these here at the closing of the month are from People magazine, of all places. And you might think, oh, this is entering the zeitgeist. This is, getting into the public consciousness of the things that women do that are horrible. And on the surface, that's what somebody would think. The reality is their consumer base for People magazine is other women. And what this happens to be is a calling card to women to say, hey, you too can become infamous just like these women. It's very disturbing. It is such a heartbreaking and disturbing thing. There is a video series. A man will interview men and women. Would you rather have a prestigious job and no pay, or would you rather clean out the dirtiest sewers for 100,000 a year or something to that effect? And overwhelmingly, every time the women are asked, they answer prestigious pay or position with no pay. Whereas the men overwhelmingly answer they want the cold hard cash in their hand and they'll get the job done. I know that doesn't tie into these atrocities that have been perpetrated, that we've profiled just in this month of these women, but it does connect to how they view the world. And that is, it is better to be known, whether by merit or notoriety, than it is to never have had your name uttered by complete strangers. It's a decade ago when I made the transition to watching things solely on YouTube and now Rumble, I, because Netflix didn't carry the Cassie J the Red Pill documentary, and then about, I don't know, 4 years ago I decided Amazon was too expensive to maintain. I've I've never looked back. I spend all my video consumption on, X and YouTube and Rumble and Odyssey, and to a lesser degree BitChute, and occasionally that other one. Oh shoot, I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but Anyway, the point I'm trying to really get at here is you've got these women that would rather commit a crime of violence. And a lot of the reason is, for example, you may have seen the video of the two girls in the back of the police car. They were arrested for shoplifting, if I'm not mistaken, in California. And of the two girls, they were commenting back and forth, where one states, since when did they start arresting for shoplifting? And the other said, oh yeah, they changed the law just recently. You know, they don't care about consequences, and they calculate that society is too squeamish to actually do something to women. So this news report, as I've been talking about all this, goes on to say that what happened is an individual caught Miss Allen on the FaceTime, with her child, having a fist imprint on the child during this FaceTime, and then they went on to contact the Shasta County um, welfare office or police or something to that effect, and then they intervened, and now she's subject to GPS monitoring, and she has a court date in about, I don't know, 10 days. By the time this is published, it'll be yeah, about 10 days. Uh, don't take anything I'm saying as to downplay the severity of what's going on here. This is they need to be nipping this in the bud immediately and correcting these behaviors. This is what 6 decades of feminism, unchecked gynocracy has done, is it's empowered women to say, you know what, I'm not going to get punished. I can kill my kid and nothing will happen. I can kill my boyfriend or husband and nothing will happen. We saw that with Melody Johnson in Arizona last year. So with Aleesha and Alan, she can't drink alcohol. Um, let's see, where did it say? She was booked in Shasta County Jail of child abuse with possible great bodily injury slash death. She's been released on her own recognizance. Now, why? Why? She's a danger. She needs to be kept away from that child, and she's prohibited from consuming any alcohol or contacting the victim. Okay, so why is she being released? This is unacceptable. This is how they reoffend. But good on the individual who put the child's safety above the so-called friendship. This is hopefully a redemption opportunity, but these things need to be dealt with swift and rapidly. Otherwise, you get those poor children who were ended by their mothers. And I apologize if any of you were caught off guard by this next image. This is an example of a shock collar that's put around a dog that is used to keep it controlled. And that's what this mother was alleged to have done to her child. Mom arrested for allegedly making her child wear dead dog's shock collar. Kimberly Cruz-Feliciano arrested on child abuse charges in New Jersey. And this was March 22. And arrested, charge. Let's see, Cape May. So she's 30. Kimberly Cruz-Feliciano is 30 years old, Cape May, New Jersey, arrested along with her mother, Sonia Feliciano, after her child arrived at school with visible marks on their body. This is a good report in doing everything they can to minimize the identity of the child, not providing any uh, identifiers as far as being a boy or a girl or the name. So often, a lot of these, they do a real lazy job of protecting the children. I mean, Granted, oh, look at that, Bill, that's your mom, you know, but it's a tightrope. But at least they're making the effort to try to minimize it, and they're not calling it out specifically. They determined the injuries came from an electric dog shock collar that belonged to the family's dead dog. So it goes on to say that this child was required at home to wear the collar at all times. That when the child was, at school or whatever, it was kept on a charger, and that the collar was kept in a bedroom along with other items belonging to the dog and was charged regularly after the dog died, according to court documents obtained by the outlets. And then it goes on to say that he was, or he, I'm presuming a he, because, and it could be a she, but this seems like something that two bitter old women would do to a boy, but, you know, I'm letting my bias show. And regardless of who, whether it was a boy or a girl, it's still unacceptable. The child was threatened with more violence by the mother if they told anyone. So that's why they didn't even, do anything. They had to wait until there was an identifying mark on this poor child to let things be escalated. So there's a thing called a CMCPO. I'm not certain what that's an acronym for, unless it's, Cape May, something, consolidated police or police officers, or but they're SVU. Okay, Cape May City Police Department carried out joint investigation on the mother and grandmother, leading to their arrest. Second, the mother is charged with second-degree counts of aggravated assault, 2 counts of endangering welfare of a child, 1 count of first-degree witness tampering with threat of force, and 1 count of third-degree hindering. Currently being held at Cape May. So at least this one, she's still being held at a correctional facility, whereas the other one, the woman was released, just not allowed to have contact with her own child, which that's a good thing. The grandmother's charged with fourth-degree tampering with evidence and hindering, but she was released ahead of the court hearing. And this isn't the first time that, some kind of government intervention has been called in. They don't specify what kind of authority, if it's children's services or if it's police or both or something entirely different. The neighbor told the outlet, "It's just sad. I hate to hear something like that. I really do. And it's right here in the neighborhood, and I did not know that." And again, you know, you, if you don't have children that are interacting with this child, there really isn't much opportunity for somebody to be able to interact. They might be able to see things, but we've become such a weird society that, we pull our drapes closed and our shades down, and we don't want any interaction with neighbors, and any interaction is always viewed as suspicious intervention, nosiness or whatever at times. And some of that's warranted, but yeah, when I was growing up, as with many of you probably too, when I was growing up, any of the neighborhood parents had no reservation to call my parent and let them know what a out of control hellion or Brad or whatever I was doing wrong. So, and vice versa with my parents towards theirs. But we've lost something about that, where parents can handle criticism or just acknowledging that their child can and will misbehave. But going back to this, hopefully this child is protected. These women face justice. And again, recognize that yes, people will, a magazine will publish stuff like that. And that's part of the reason I'm using the archive, is one, to make certain that the story stays there, two, that it's not altered, and three, it deprives them of ad revenue, because all they're doing is paying for these stories and causing celebrity. You know, a status symbol that women crave. So keep yourself safe, keep your children safe, take pictures of things, and video surveillance for yourself to keep yourself out of trouble. And the month is almost over.